Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. I'm a certified professional life coach, serial entrepreneur, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Note to Self. Today's Note to Self is a pattern alert. And let me tell you, I am fired up about this episode. So, just to let you know, and I'm sure it probably says, this is going to be an explicit episode because I am very passionate about this. And I feel like I've been especially passionate about this in the last 2 weeks as I have uncovered deeper aspects and dimensions of the ways in which I have been lying to myself. So today's note to self is stop telling yourself lies. So I feel like I have been really next level uprooting this deep pattern of lies, of recognizing and seeing the thoughts that float by my mind that aren't supportive of my highest good, that do not entertain my success, that do not entertain that next level version of myself and the vision that I have for myself. Like, I'm telling you, I am so done with the lies because in order to elevate into that next level version of ourselves, we always need to address the subconscious mind. And this is what I'm getting at today. And what I mean by the lies is I mean those stories, those narratives that are there on autopilot, but perhaps that we just let sort of float by, or we can sort of gauge that they're there, but we're not really doing anything about it. So I'm going to give you a couple personal examples. So in my life right now, I'm very clear on this next level of life, of being that I've been in training. I've been actively practicing a new way of being. And that vision that I have for myself, I know that that is a divine desire planted by God, planted by Source. I'm fully in trust that the vision that I see for myself and my future is the path of the highest good for myself and for all. It is God, Source, universe, however you want to call it, however you want to deem it, wanting to come through for me to receive this full expression of myself. It's in my soul's highest evolution for me to become that full expression of myself, like that fully bloomed flower. I'm feeling the desire to really step into this new season of blooming. So some of those thoughts that are or have been present in my mind is, I'll give you the personal example from my life right now. So I have just put down a down payment on a new villa here in Bali on a lease. So a long-term rental agreement for a new space. And this is a next level for me. This is a much larger space. This is my dream space. I haven't come across anything like this in Bali. It literally feels like my mind created it. And I feel like I felt that way about every place that I've moved into for probably the last 6 years, is it always seems to be a creation of my dreams. Like each time that I've lived in a place, I've naturally had things that I liked and didn't like. And I feel like Source has always been carving out the next step for me. And what I know about myself personally is that each time I move into a new space that I call home, that is me lifting, reaching, and elevating into that next level version of myself because when our internal world shifts, it's natural for external reality to want to meet that. So as I've been really practicing this new way of being, like I've told you, I've had aligned actions come into play, like the opportunity to move, like walking through this new villa, knowing that this was a stretch for me or a place where I was uncomfortable to go financially. But I knew that that next level version of Zoe, who's creating that next level version of wealth, she's living in that home. She's working in that office. She's making matchas in that kitchen. That's her. So I was answering to the divine desire before I knew how to make it happen or before I could trust that I could make it happen. And the thing is, I want to encourage each and every one of you, you know what your divine desires are. You know where you're called to go. But it's just a matter of, are you ready and willing to trust? Are you ready and willing to take the leap? because that's faith. Faith occurs when we believe or we're seeing that I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm actually choosing to believe in myself more. That those old beliefs, they don't have a place here, and I'm reaching for the new beliefs. I'm reaching for the new version of myself. So, back to today's topic, stop telling yourself lies. So, I noticed that as soon as I made this commitment to the villa, it was like I was excited. There's a part of Zoe that's wildly excited, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this spaciousness, this expansion, like living in my dream villa in Bali. Wow, the things I'm going to create, the version of myself I'm already stepping into. She's already here. She's making it happen. But of course, there was some little gremlin style thoughts in my mind, like, Zoe, are you sure that that's not being irresponsible? Zoe, are you sure that you're worthy of that space? Are you sure that you can trust yourself, that you can make this happen? And beyond, more and more and more of those. So I want to share with you guys an exercise, and this is something that I've really been doing as I've been deeply uprooting this pattern of telling myself lies, because those little gremlin messages that I just shared with you, they're all lies. When I caught myself thinking those thoughts, and I felt that in my body, it felt heavy. Truth is light and lies are heavy. I've mentioned that before and I'll continue to mention it again. Truth is light and lies are heavy. And that's how you differentiate. What is the self-sabotage? It's the heaviness. It's the tearing down. It's the catabolic energy. What is the anabolic energy? That's the soul. I can do this. I'm made for this. I desire this, and so I am worthy of having it. My desires are divine. So, truth is light and lies are heavy, and that's how you differentiate. And this exercise I'm going to be telling you about today is really powerful for uprooting a lot. And I do it with my clients from time to time when we're really going to work on a certain area of life. So, what I do is I create a table on Microsoft Word in my computer, and there's two columns. One column is the limiting belief, lie, old story that's been chilling in my mind via the gremlins. And then on the other side, there's the new light story. There's the abundant future. And so, first and foremost, I go through all of the limiting beliefs and lies and fears, everything that's present for me. And I just write and write and write. I go on a tangent. I like to do this on my computer because I can type a lot faster than I can write. And it just allows me to channel all of those limiting beliefs and fears out. I just get them all out. It's like a massive excavation that happens of the subconscious. So I'm just firing out all these limiting beliefs like you're irresponsible with money, or I write them as I am statements because then I transform the I am statements. That's an important note to make. Is first I might write them down of like all the inner questioning that's going on. Like, are you sure this is the right choice? Are you sure this is not a mistake? And I go through and I write all the limiting beliefs, and then I transform all the negative beliefs into those I am statements that they would be like, I am irresponsible with money. I am not worthy of such a beautiful place to live in. All sorts of things like that. And then I go through these lies, right? These lies that are in that I am statement format. And when I sit with them, like, I am unworthy of having such a nice home. Oh my God. Fuck no. I don't need that lie living in my brain. That doesn't feel good in my body. Ugh, gross. It just is not true. And as I go through these again, I ask myself, are these true? Did God descend from the sky and tell me that I was unworthy of having this beautiful home that I felt so intuitively drawn to, that I had such a desire because I literally felt like God created it for me? Did God actually descend from the sky and say, no, Zoe, sorry, that ain't it for you? No, God did not do that. So that's a lie. And as soon as I go through all of those and I'm just like really sit with the feeling of them, really just tune into how big and how heavy these lies are, I just get super repulsed. Like, ooh, no. And I get super aware of how they feel. It's like I almost become acquainted with them. Instead of just letting them take up residence in my brain, I become acquainted with them so I can kick them out. And then after I've gone through and really acknowledge that each of these are lies, I go over to the new light story. the abundant future that I'm telling for myself. And for each one of those lies, I counteract it with a new powerful I am statement. And the reason why I am statements are so important is because I am statements like I am worthy of such a beautiful home because I have worked hard for this, because I believe in myself, because I have persevered. Whatever reasons you want for that. But the reason why the I am statements are so powerful is because those are the gateways into the subconscious mind. I am. I am. That's why it's powerful to have these types of affirmations, because even if you don't fully believe them, of course, at first, if you can recognize that they have you feeling lighter, you know that you're actually beginning to access the subconscious mind. And the more and more that you repeat these, the more and more that you practice implementing them when the lie decides to cruise by your mind, you're on the right track. Okay? So, again, do this exercise. I strongly encourage you to do it and write out especially the new light stories as I am statements, because then you can transform them. And moving on, when the uncomfortable lies enter your mind again, you can sort of laugh at them like, oh, I've become acquainted with you. You're kicked out. I kicked you out of this home that is my temple. You're no longer allowed here. And then you can rewire the brain. And this becomes very fun at first, especially after you do the initial exercise, because purging all that out, you naturally feel a lot more spacious and clear and excited about the future that you're creating as you lean into all those new truths. But what happens when the gremlins perhaps creep up sneakily? Because that's what they do. You kick them out, and then it's almost like they sneak in the back door again, right? They're trying to get that neural pathway paved out again after you've really worked on that, let's say that fresh cement. And so recognizing when you feel that you are sliding out of the higher self and into the previous identity or the self-sabotage is key. And like I highlighted, sometimes it feels like this is coming from the back door. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you can actually fully recognize it, but you can feel that a shift is occurring. And this actually happened to me this morning. So yesterday I had a huge purge. I visited a Balinese Manku and, he did all sorts of kind of healing on me. And sometimes when we have big purges, the next day we can feel, yes, we feel spacious, we feel a lot clearer, but we can also sort of feel vulnerable. Like, am I really capable of this? I know and I'm aware of the stories that I've had about myself and I'm writing my story for the future, but am I really capable of this? And today, I found myself feeling in an energy of defeat. And after I finished my morning work for the day, like what were my badass minimums, the things that I really needed to commit to that day, there was definitely more things that I wanted to get to, but I had sort of this idea that come to mind that was like, you know what? Let's just escape the world. Let's just watch Eat, Pray, Love and turn off the lights, crawl into bed, put on the AC, and just cuddle up in the blankets and watch Eat, Pray, Love for the day. Like, how does that sound? And part of me thought, yeah, that sounds good. But then I had this higher self moment where it was like my higher self came through and was like, Zoe, this is the time where you do the work. Okay, so I woke up in sort of this energy of defeat, and after I got done, like what were my necessary things to do that day, I was sort of tempted to escape the world. But my higher self butted in and said, Zoe, this is the time to do the work. When all you have to lean on is faith, that the future will be as you say it will be, that you see it to be. And then I took a few minutes and I was like, yeah, this is the work. This is actually the time to do it. When I'm facing the most resistance through my mind, body, everything in me just wants to claim defeat and really sink into that energy and crawl into bed and hide from the world and escape. No, this is the moment where I roll up my sleeves. I tell myself that I'm a fucking badass. I'm making it happen for myself. And you know what? It was this switch was flicked. I decided that I put on some inspiring content to listen to, And I ended up having an incredibly flowy work day. And here I am now recording this episode, and I feel so good about it. But I also want to go into a bit more depth about this because there certainly is a time for rest. Rest is productive and it is highly important. But I believe there is an energy in knowing when it is time to rest and knowing when it is time to pull yourself out of a funk or the place of almost falling into one. Because certainly this morning, I could have definitely fallen into a bout of depression. And that could have lasted one day or it could have lasted 1 week. And I know a previous version of Zoe wouldn't have been able to bring that into awareness and probably would have felt not so great for a week. But today, I triumphant. Today, I rose. So I encourage you, the next time you feel like you want to escape for the day, right? Sort of this feeling of like, I don't want to do life today. Ask yourself, what is the energy I'm coming from? When you feel like you want to go hide in your blankets and watch movies or escape the world, ask yourself, what is the energy I'm coming from? Is it fear? Is it unworthiness? Is it defeat? For me, defeat is a big one. And defeat was a really key differentiator in today being not a day to rest and a day to be triumphant. Because if I was to succumb to the energy of defeat and lie in bed and watch movies, yeah, my body probably would have felt rest and would have felt better. But I actually think I would have come out of that day still feeling even more exhausted because I would have succumbed to that catabolic energy of defeat. And if it's not defeat, if it's not unworthy, and if it's not fear, and it's simply just your body needs this, and for example, if you're feeling my body needs this and I'm happy to do it, then do it. If it's coming from that energy of love and celebration, then do it. We can only ever come from two different energies, love or fear. So the next time that you feel, again, like I said, this escapism energy, this energy of defeat, this energy of unworthiness, ask yourself, is this actually the gremlin sneaking in the back door and trying to kick me out of my own house again? Because when it comes to rewiring your brain, it's about moving through the resistance by taking an aligned action to be one step closer to the new implemented belief system, which will ultimately govern your life. I'm going to repeat that. When it comes to rewiring your brain, it's about moving through the resistance, right? So in this case, the resistance was like me being like, I don't want to do life today. I want to escape from the world and I just want to watch my movie in bed. But by taking an aligned action, that was like, hell no, I'm going to put on some inspiring content because I want to be that next level version of myself. I'm ready to take action towards her. I'm just ready to be her already. So that was one step closer to the implemented new belief system, which is governing my life now, that I am worthy of this future that I want. And in the case of the example that I gave you guys earlier, I'm worthy of my expanded, beautiful life in Bali. Because the truth is, the scariest place to be is the same place you were last year. And remember, the only constant is change. So let's evolve together. And with that, I'd love to invite you all to a masterclass that I'm hosting that's called Wealthy and Well Traveled on June 1st and 2nd. So there'll be a link for an opt-in for that down below. I'm super excited about this 2-day masterclass because it's going to be all about expanding your own possibilities. We're definitely going to talk into really stepping into that next level version of yourself. It's going to be a highlight on being a digital entrepreneur and or digital nomad. That's the theme of it, but it's really just about stepping into a new level of freedom, right? Looking at what's available to you. So I invite you to join that. Click the link down below to opt in so you get notified where to go to watch that. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in there and just giving you all of the love in this process of rewiring your brain. I know that it's difficult sometimes, as in, well, I don't want to say difficult, I just want to say challenging, okay? But all challenges are an opportunity to grow, and that's the truth. And we're all growing new supportive neural pathways. So stop telling yourself lies again and start telling yourself light stories, the truth, the future that you want to create. And so it is, it shall be. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon, or talk to you soon, I mean. Thank you for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoearielpolson.com. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.